Not because of anything that Prajosh and I had a discussion. I do realize that what I went through when I was a child or I was a student, I didn't go to college, so I don't have the college experience. But I know, I was telling him that there is a huge difference in the generation of what my parents and I was vis-a-vis the current generation, like Prajosh's children or equivalent, and Prajosh and Sunata are. There's a difference of almost 1.5 generations today because, the difference between my father and I was only 2 generations. Take it from me, I also come so many years back. And there's a very simple philosophy that we all followed in our house. My parents will put a Lakshman Rekha. If anybody crossed it, we were pushed back. Today, I just see the opposite of it. When the child or the children push the Lakshman Rekha, the parents pull it back. The diametrically opposite of what happened in our case. So that was the generational gap, and Prajosh and I were discussing yesterday when I was returning from Mysore. But having said that, let me just tell you a small brief about what is this life in the army is all about. I'm not going to talk about how to get into the army, navy, or the air force, but I'm going to tell you broadly. It is something like I find even in my team, the general knowledge levels today of the people are of, let us say 35 or 40 years old is very, very poor. And basically because reading as a habit has gone away from this generation. I don't blame you. You read international things through your digital mode. But what is required to be known, I don't think all of us know what our history. We know how many trees Ashoka planted, but we don't know what happened during the independence movement. We don't know what happened in 47, what happened in Kashmir in 47, 48. Why this problem? You ask them what happened in 62, they say, what happened? I was not born. What happened when you got the biggest defeat from the Chinese hands? So there is so much that has happened in the past. Unless we know the history, unless we know the events, how can we suddenly start discussing about the strategic relationship between United States and Russia vis-a-vis US and China? I don't know, because your basics are of the knowledge of our own history is not clear. It is not clear because nobody has made an effort. Your school subjects don't teach you that. They only talk about the good old history. They'll talk about the Mughal history. They'll talk about the British, how they ruled us. They'll talk about so many things, but not our own heritage, our culture, our traditions, and our strength. That I must say that it is not the young generation like my grandchildren are, but my grandchildren are in a different world. But I can see the same thing with many of my people in my team. They are in a different world. And I think I'm in a different world, but I'm going to take you to the world of the armed forces today. Okay? Next. In school, I proposed, but it was God who disposed it. I finished my school when I went for my interview for the army when I was just about 15 years and 6 months, or 15 years and 4 months, after having passed the National Defence Academy examination. And I wrote the NDA, National Defence Academy examination. I got selected and I made the merit list and I went to the army. Studies was never my subject of interest. Everything else was my interest, games, sports, or reading about the world, reading about history. My father used to teach me, and he was such a great, well-read man that he could even talk about the various battles that were fought in Second World War. He knew more about the Burma campaign than what I learned after joining the army. So my whole life was basically on games, cricket, badminton, basketball. And only my school principal told me the army suited me. Only army suited me because he said you are no good a student. I don't know. The army finds I'm intelligent. This is the dichotomy which I'm not able to understand. I got 55% in my school finals. Of course, those days my topper of my school was 64%. Today, if you get 64%, your parents will have a heart attack. But you're a first class. But that is the problem of those days and these days. I just went to NDA because I thought there'll be no studies. How wrong I was when I reached there. Next slide. National Defence Academy is a tri-services training cadets. Those days it was 10th class or 11th class pass. Nowadays it is 12th class. It has Army, Navy, Air Force. Now we are also going to get women, and there's a separate, some additions are being made. And during our time, it was one of the finest institutions that you could have ever thought of. The building in front of you is known as Sudan Block, because the government of Sudan gave money for this. And today Sudan is in such a big mess. So it is not a Sudan block. This is basically an academic block. I'm not showing the rest of it is available in the NDA this thing. NDA was totally a different life. In the invitation, they showed you my number, 6602. That was me. A day after I joined in July 1965, they gave me that haircut, which is known as messed-in haircut, that you put a dabba on your head and then they shave off everything else. And look at me, how miserable I look. NDA Max makes you a man. 3 years of training, they teach you what is a team, what is the meaning of confidence, how can you be self-confident yourself, how do you assess that you have so much of energy in you, which you don't know yourself. And then he talks about critical thinking, logic. Most important thing is logic and common sense. And they taught us logical thinking. How, after all, battles are not fought without any reason or without any logical thinking of any planning. How do you go about it? Of course, I have to tell some jokes I'll share with you later. It taught me resilience, perseverance. You don't know that you can walk 40 kilometers with 30 kgs of weight on your back with your rifle and your ammunition, pouch ammunition loaded, and then you come after that 40 kilometers, they give you 7 minutes per kilometer. You come and then you do some, you have to cross an obstacle and then you have to fire live rounds and then you climb a rope. There's a Burma bridge, you walk across and then you leave your hands and jump into water and swim 50 meters. I don't know how I did it, but I had to do it. The first 2 years is common subjects. We used to have horse riding, we used to have physical exercises, PT, or we used to have drill, parade ground. The morning up to 9 o'clock, up to 8 o'clock or 8:30 used to be only this outdoor activities. And then we used to go to this office, our cadets mess, 1,500 cadets. I have not had such lovely food in my life thereafter. And we could take 8 eggs omelette, you can take 20 toast with butter and have coffee and go to the classroom and you can sleep with your eyes open. To become from a raw student of a school, they bring you up and make a man out of you and teach you all these things. And between the 3 services, Army, Navy, Air Force, in the last year of our training, 3rd year, we branch out. Army goes for Army training, Navy goes for naval, they have a Peacock Bay, and then the Air Force goes for gliding, and nowadays I think they're even flying microlight. So that was how, and then we parted. After the 3rd year, after the passing out parade, all of us broke off. The Army went to Indian Military Academy in Dehradun, the Navy went to to Cochin, to the Naval Academy, and the Air Force went to Dindigul in Hyderabad for flying. Many of us never met each other thereafter. Direct entry you have, they do 2 years of training, or the technical entry who come and do 1 year after passing their engineering degree. There are people from Jawans who become an officer with tough, with a very lot of hard work. They also join here. This whole thing is a different thing. This is the real army that meets cadets who pass out of NDA, get a BSc or a BA degree. Unfortunately, to write an NDA examination, if you don't have physics, chemistry, and maths, you can't take the exam. You can't go to NDA with, say, art subject or humanities or commerce. The reason is the army of today is highly technically, it has become so technical that unless you know the basic mathematics, physics, and chemistry, you cannot survive. But in NDA, after you go, you can get a BSc degree or a BA degree, depending upon your capacity and your interest. From the Pune University, during my time, they gave us an intermediate certificate because we came from school. And in IMA, when you go today, the 1 year of training, the cadets or the gentlemen cadets, we graduate from cadets to gentlemen cadets. Today, the final year, that 1 year of training in IMA, the cadet or gentleman cadet gets 56,100 rupees per month. He got nothing. And today they get directly promoted as lieutenant, 2 stars. We were all with a single star. They started from there. And this place is 56,100 rupees you're getting before you're commissioned as an officer. And when you become an officer after 1 year, your minimum salary is about 68,000 rupees. A Jawan of the Indian Army today gets almost 50,000 rupees plus all other food, variety of other things, leave and medical, etc., etc. And please read every sentence or every word. The safety, honor, and welfare of your country come first, always, and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command come next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety come last, always, and every time. What does it tell you? The army trains you and trusts you with about a platoon strength, 37 human beings, to lead them to war. Their honor, welfare, and comfort is before yours. This is the motto that we remember. We never forget it. Till I die, this will be the motto. In my civil world, my comfort will come the last. My staff's comfort should come before me. And the country, of course, is always first. So that is what 4 years of training makes a boy into a man. I was less than 20 years when this photograph was taken. But this is where I started my family in 76. I've done so many things. I was commander in artillery regiment, I was in military operations, Ladakh, I was in internal operations. So many things I have done. Military assistant to the chief, faculty member of Defence Services Staff College. But unfortunately, I joined the army not to study. And they made me study till I retired from Staff College teaching people. You can see the transformation in me from the young lieutenant to a colonel. Izzat. What is Izzat? Izzat is pride. You wear that uniform, you have the Izzat. You remove that uniform, you still retain the Izzat because you have worked for the organization for so many years. Next, it teaches you the meaning of loyalty. In the civil, loyalty is the previous one. Previous line. In the civil, loyalty is only, up to the money that you get from your organization. There, loyalty is not money. Third, that's a pride of uniform Paltan. Paltan means battalion, regiment, or the ship, or whatever you are serving of the squadron, and the country. it goes in that. If somebody asks me, you joined the army because I want to become a martyr and die for the country, I will say I will never take you. Because you can't be a leader by dying for the country. You should make the Pakistani die. You must make the Chinese die. By your own death, you don't become a martyr. Okay, if you kill 5 people, then the country comes later. The first is the uniform and then the battalion or the regiment that I belong to. Their name should not get spoiled. That is how we are taught. Self-confidence and motivation to be a leader, secular and respect for all religions. Ladies and gentlemen, this secular word is a very dirty word in India. I learned what is secular in the army when we have mandir parades. I don't know how many of you know that. Everything in the army is a parade. Pay parade, mandir parade, you have so many other parades. Parade means normal drill. In mandir parade is depending upon what the religion of your troops is your religion. If they are Muslims, you become a Muslim. You get a Maulvi as a religious teacher. If you are Sikhs, you have a Gurdwara. If your Hindu population is more with your troops, then you have a temple. And in my company, in my regiment, they were all Hindus and majority. Of course, we had Muslims, Christians, and everyone. You'll be surprised that the Muslims and the Christians and the Hindus, we used to sing bhajans together. We have no religion as such. That cannot happen anywhere else in this country, except the armed forces. Today you get fantastic pay, perks, and fantastic pension. I see senior citizens eroded because of the years of longevity, and the money gets eroded, but we are covered by the dearness allowance even after retirement. If the inflation goes up, my pension also goes up. You're not worried about supreme sacrifice. Please don't be under the mistaken notion that supreme sacrifice is what is demanded of you because you have been groomed one day to give your life if required. Preferably take the enemy's life. By chance that bullet had your name and you died, please, that is the supreme sacrifice we ask of you. Of course, the armed forces, at least the army, makes you see India free. I've seen from Sikkim to Arunachal Pradesh to Nagaland to Manipur and then come this way down to Ladakh, Kashmir, Delhi, Calcutta. Number of stations I have seen, Chandigarh. I have seen all that free ticket. What is written here? That is the colors that the boy is getting, that the battalion is getting. And look at him and look at that flag. That is known as a color. You will die for the color. You don't die for the national flag, you die for the color. So I have written here, have you got it in you? You don't need to be a Superman and physically very fit and things like that. But can you take this life as it comes to you and lead happily instead of cribbing and crying? Yeah, I was given a Bashir Seva Medal. I retired from the army voluntarily for 4th of July, that is American Independence Day. I mean, it's just a coincidental thing. Then I started my life in the civil. Whatever I have done is what the army taught me. My school and the army. I told you, the army, we do have families. This is my wife and I, that my 2 daughters. You can see this is the current age, my grandchildren. If you want to know how to join the Army, Navy or the Air Force, please go to the Indian Army website. You will be directed to all these institutions. You will know what to study, what not to study. But if anybody is interested, I can even groom you, I can tell you, learn this. And we can tell you as to how this happened, what is the history. And there is so much to learn, traditions, customs. number of things. Instead of only playing the game in your mobile phone, there is so much of information today available to you on a platter on the screen. Please use that information, gain that knowledge. They have done so well in that field of endeavor. They can teach you. You want professional ideas about what life is going to be as an engineer or a doctor or something else, they'll tell you. But you have to have the passion to gain knowledge, come up and be your own boss. And I'll be a big hero outside. Inside my house, I'm a pussycat. Again, we have seen our parents, we have seen everybody. So like that, if you all want to learn something, please tell us. We can structure it for you. The knowledge which the seniors have in a variety of subjects, I can tell you that tacit knowledge, even if 10% of it, if you can get it, you'll be far better off tomorrow in the world. Far, far better. Instead of only mugging up that your syllabus books, and the curriculum is depends on the school, and nobody knows the difference between syllabus and curriculum. And you think that life ends only with that book and balance of time some computer games. So I want to tell you that this is what Prajosh and I we discussed, and if you like this, we can have a structure, a series of talks. Let somebody interaction also. Now I'll ask you to interact. This is what was written in that graveyard in Nagaland. When you go home, tell them that he gave this today for your tomorrow. And beautifully maintained graveyards, Hindu, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, the name written, the cross like this, flower, and maintained by the British War Commission and not the Indian government. And there it is written this. So if you want to be remembered, if you want to enjoy life, if you want to know what the army is, army doesn't mean that after you retire, I'll be a security guard. There are so many things you have learned in life, you can do so many other things. If you have that in you, please join the Indian Armed Forces. It's an amazing institution. It's fantastic life and fantastic memories that you'll take it to the graveyard. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll answer.
To have your suggestion that already my son is studying in Sainik School and his aim is to join Indian Army. And I'm very proud to say that my younger son is also selected. He has come in the merit list. I just want to know that what is the role of a mother, how to motivate them continuously until they join NDA. What should be my role in their upbringing?
Give them good food, make them exercise, and make them eat. Mother's role for an army or the Air Force or the naval son, or mother's role for a son who joins Kobe Property Center is same.
Kannada Krishnan.
Yes, sir. Vanakkam.
Vanakkam. See, the people get tuned or get attracted towards army or navy or Air Force more in north. The reason being, so many parents are in army or whatever it is. This is not found in south, especially in Tamil Nadu. It's very rare that people get tuned to this idea of joining the army. How do we bring up this idea at all among the children?
Sir, when I was selected for NDA, we had a joint family. My grandmother asked my father, "Is he so useless that you are sending him to Patala?" Okay. And my father said, "I'm sending him because he made it on his own merit. If I stop him today and tomorrow he doesn't get a job after his college, he will tell me that day when I was going this school, now you find me a job." Now, I'll tell you, there's a perception about this army, especially amongst the educated class in Tamil Nadu and not the other normal middle class. We have a Madras regiment, and the training is done at Wellington, like the Sikh regiment, battalions. So there is a Madras regiment which has troops from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, and also Andhra Pradesh. So we do have, at the level of Guwats, in the academy when I went, the number of Tamilians who joined along with me, I could count them in my fingertips. Today, that is not the case. Because the salary which people are getting, sir, I'm telling you, the entry level in my company cannot afford to pay 67,000 rupees per month. So times have changed. And why they are not going even more? Basically because of two reasons. One is, life is very tough. It is not so. It is tough because nobody can take it. I mean, they are not mad to make it around like a mad dog. Second reason I personally feel is, even today, there is that, it is something like somebody told me, is the stigma of the old age home still there? But the stigma of going to the Patalam is still there with the grandparents and the parents. And the children may not maybe wanting to go, but mother will say, no, Vanda. You don't have to go. I'll feed you 5 more dosas. You put on 4 more kgs and play with your mobile phone. I think that thing has to change. That is changing, sir, especially after women have started coming in. And the south, and that is the north and south, the difference is because all our invasions came only from the north. Right from Alexander to Ghazni Muhammad, everybody came from that side only. We did not have, we had only one war which came up to Palakkad by our friend Tipu Sultan. Otherwise, we are not seen because we are well protected. Because of that, if we say that we don't want to join the armed forces, you are part of this country. I think you have, after all, the vacancies that are decided for the Jawans are on the main recruitable population in each district. So I think we have to teach them. I think we have to tell them that there is this particular thing today is easy and available. I think things will change.
Sir, I'm Ankit Chandran speaking, sir.
Yes, Ankit Chandran.
Sir, I have a question that why did you choose army and that too particularly artillery, sir?
Good question.
Thank you, sir.
Now, my naval friends and Air Force friends should not get angry. I wanted to feel my feet on the ground. The ship, you see water. So if I know my feet is steady on the ground, I feel I get a comfort level. It was my choice to go to the army. Incidentally, in NDA in the 4th term, they give you an option to change. In Army, Navy, and the Air Force can change. I applied for a change to Navy. I was sent to Bangalore for some test, whether medical, the eyes and this thing, etc. But I only passed the PABD test for the Air Force when I went for my NDA selection.
Yes, sir.
When I came back, I said, no, I'll go to the army only. And why did I choose artillery? Artillery was the only one which gave us the opportunity to fly aircrafts or helicopters. Others didn't have at that time. Since I had a passion for flying also, but then I could choose either of the two. If I chose an Air Force, and if I go for the pilot training, and if I'm not found fit and get my, the solo, so many hours of training, they'll send me to some accounts and audit some branch like that. So I said, I don't want that uncertainty whether I can fly. I said, artillery gives me that after I can get commissioned, S.P. Sharma, who took over from me, is an army aviation pilot. They all came from the artillery those days. So I opted for artillery.
Yes, sir.
Napoleon did not inspire me, even though he is also an artillery man. Napoleon is the only one who said, I saw the crown of France lying in the gutter and I picked it up with my sword. How many of you can remember this sentence? So that is your personal choice. If I talk to Captain Santosh, who was my executive vice president, he went to the Navy. The Navy is nothing wrong. Good. Equally good. Maybe better in many ways. Naval guys don't have any field areas. The field area is the ship. Air Force people are also, they can stay with the families. There's a risk factor in flying any aircraft. That's okay.
Looking back, how do you feel?
I'm a very satisfied man. I think whatever I am today, it is thanks to my school and the Indian Army. I'm very clear about it. It has nothing to do with my brain, which in any case I was not the brilliant boy in the class. And it has nothing to do with luck. I don't believe in luck. I think you have to create luck. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not a question, but to share in connection to what Mr. Jagannathan said about people from the South are not fascinated by the career in the army. I just want to answer that with my own personal experience, where my great-grandfathers, both on my father's side and mother's side, have been great army, non-army people. My paternal great-grandfather, after the World War, took up the entire village protection to protect the army which was stationed there, giving them all the support. He got a military honors when he died, although he was a non-army person. My grandfather, mother's side, said out of his 5 sons, 1 must be in the army. So they were all old-timers, but there was this passion that there is something that we have to make a difference to the bhumi in which we were all born. Now that passion is what I see in you when you're talking to our children, all of us. And somewhere, I think today's learning, to all my new youth children, I'd say, is so much more valuable than learning from a textbook. Learning from somebody's experience, learning when you see eye on eye with somebody can have a much lasting impression than what is on a printed book, written very often by people who don't know about it. So I'm very proud of this initiative you have taken, and I think exposing our children through the various careers open to them will enable them to be really happy for themselves. At the end of it, wherever they serve, whatever they do, they must be happy.
Definitely, ma'am. I think there's a lot of meaning in what you're saying. I think one of the reasons is that, see, my generation did not require decision making from my parents. I chose my own decision. I chose my own, like the ad which comes, make your own road. I made my own road. But today it is not like that, because there is so much of parental interference, school, their peers, and if everybody goes for civil engineering, the whole lot will go to civil engineering. So understanding why you are doing. If everybody goes to mechanical engineering, everybody will go to mechanical engineering. So there is no structured way of learning. You decide about the child's choice of education at class 9, science group, commerce group, humanities. At 9th class, what does he know the difference between economics and mechanics? He doesn't know. Today, I think the system has to change. The way that we grow up children, and it cannot be done by the parents of today. They are very, very ambitious. And I think, yes, we need to do this. I think there are a variety of options for these children. They have to ask questions and ask for it. There's so many of us who can teach them, who can tell them. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, sir. This is Tanishka. I ask one question, Karan, sir. What is your very difficult situation has handled in your army life, and what is your memorable day in army life, sir?
Every day was different. Every day was memorable. I say it was the most difficult day that you had in the army was my decision to leave the army. That was the most difficult thing.
Thank you, sir.
Coming to listen to this, my passion about army. You tell me what is your passion. I can just tell you how that can become a dream. The dream has to be realized. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Good night.